Let's go! I've struggled with organising myself my whole life. I feel like I try so hard, and yet keeping on top of things is like treading water. It works for a while, but is not sustainable as a way of life. This brain chaos is there from the minute I open my eyes to the minute I fall asleep. It's the background to my life. But maybe it doesn't have to be this way. You know, I realised something recently. The reason these organisational systems don't always work is because they, and I, fail to take into account the differences in the neurodivergent perception of time. Our attention and sense of time just isn't like most other people's. We need nudges to get going, and also nudges to stop. Distractions are around every corner, and when we focus deeply, and that can throw us off our plan for the day too. Neurotypical timekeeping in the confines of a daily schedule can look like checking your watch to make sure you're on track. Whereas when I'm in a state of deep focus, 3 hours can pass and I won't even remember that watches exist. Now, this can obviously be a huge benefit in terms of getting a lot done during that period of focus, but can make it really hard to live up to societal expectations and can make it hard to achieve our own goals as well. Because we don't just get focused on very, very important tasks. Sometimes we can get very focused on things that are not that worthwhile. How can you say that? Ha. Well, I showed them they were wrong. When Timo reached out to me to tell me about that app for autistic and ADHD brains, I was really curious to see whether it might help me. They're a really cool company based in Denmark who were developing this app as part of the founder's master's degree. And after they were done with the study, they were basically had become so popular that everyone was like, okay, but when is this app going to be available? No, seriously. So they kind of grew from there, which I think is a really cool story because everybody who was involved in testing it were like, yes, this is what we need. So the concept is kind of like micromanaging your days in advance to remind you what you need to do next and how much time you've got to do it. So after trying TIIMO out for a couple of months now, I don't think I realised just how much energy I expended on a day-to-day basis just trying to keep everything together. TIIMO hasn't replaced my current methods, but it has been a really valuable addition that I think will really help me out in the long term, so I hope that it will be helpful to some of you guys out there. So my system right now is using Google Calendar and a paper planner alongside the TIIMO app. It seems like an overly complicated system, but this is how I make it work. Once a week, usually on Sundays, I sit down and plan the week ahead. If you're interested in a little bit more detail about my overall planning system, please let me know in the comments and I can do a whole video on the whole system if you like. But basically, once I have looked at what I need to do and what's coming up, and made sure that both of my planner and my calendar are synced so there's no conflicting information, then I open up the TIIMO app on my desktop or laptop. They do have a mobile app, of course, as well, but I prefer working on a bigger screen so I can have a really good overview of the week ahead. It's just personal preference, really. Now, when you first start using the app, the blank screen can be a little bit intimidating. So I started with trying to automate the parts of my day that rarely change. And for me, this is around dinner time and my son's bedtime. Having a toddler in a neurodivergent household especially means having a really solid bedtime routine. And so for us, this starts around 4 p.m. when we start making dinner. We eat at around 5, and yes, toddlers can take a little time to eat sometimes. And after that, we tidy up, go up for a bath and bedtime, hoping to get the little one asleep by 7 o'clock. And this is kind of a sacred ritual, so it doesn't change day to day at all. So I made a routine in the TIIMO app to streamline the process, and then this is something that will then repeat every single day. Alright, so you can see I've added a few activities here already. You can add the activities by pressing on the little plus signs, and then the screen pops up where you can put the title, notes, whether it repeats, you can choose an icon. So I've done these ones already for you, because it takes me a long time to choose the icon. So as you can see, it's really easy to create a routine. You just make sure that the activities you want are selected, click create new routine and type in the name. And then you've created something up at the side that you can just drag and drop. And you can do this another way actually. You can go to individual activities and click the daily repetition button, and then you can just automatically have it come up every single day if you, like me, have a small child and parenting feels sort of eternal sometimes. So you can see that's automatically filled in for me, and I don't need to do this every week. Now there are of course activities that you don't have to do every single day, so like taking the bins out, that is once a week. Actually this is every 2 weeks because it's the green bins, so I'm just setting this one up to repeat every 2 weeks. I can take it out at 8 o'clock, it takes 5 minutes but I always forget. So this is just a helpful little reminder to do that, and you can set it to go every second week, which is really helpful. And there you have it, it's all set up nicely. And honestly, from then on, I basically go about filling in all the different activities that I have each week, some of which will repeat and some of which don't. All appointments and reminders, and like literally, honestly, the hardest part is picking the icon for me because that's just, I don't know, that's just the kind of person I am. So I fill in, you know, like when I take my son to preschool, when my autism coach comes, and all of that. So every part of my day is time blocked, basically. The only thing I don't actually do is I don't do my morning routine because my son doesn't wake up at the same time each day, so I can never really plan that very well. I always have to kind of wing it a little bit, as long as I'm in the right place. So that's one thing I don't plan, but I'm okay with that. I don't have to do it all. One thing I really like to do is plan my meals in advance, and then I go through the week and write down if anything needs to be taken out of the freezer, because I always forget to take things out the night before. So this is just a helpful little reminder, if there is anything that needs to be defrosted, to do that. And so we don't end up at 3 o'clock having to soak something in water to defrost it. So that's one is all set up, and I know that I'm not going to forget anything throughout the week. So now that we've planned the week, this is where this really comes in handy. It's kind of a running joke in our household that I can never find my phone because I have a tendency to put it down in places without thinking and then kind of wander off. So having something that is strapped to my wrist is therefore kind of necessary for me if it's going to keep me on track during the day. You can of course get the TIIMO alerts on the app that goes straight to your phone if that works for you. I also have a tendency to pick up my phone for one purpose and then get lost in kind of like notifications and then completely lose track of what I was supposed to be doing. I wonder what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. I should check. That's a good one. What was I doing? Why am I holding my phone? So my phone use is kind of problematic, I do accept that. So the smartwatch integration really helps this app stand out because you get to lose the problematic distraction device. So as I showed you, I set all my activities for the week on the desktop, and then you just need to install the app onto a smartwatch that runs Apple or Android, and then you open the app and it basically keeps track of things for you from there. It tells you what to do and when to do it. I really love the design and how it's so visual with the icons, but also the really cool feature is that timer device. That gives you a sort of visual representation of how much time the whole thing's going to take and how much time you've got left. And this is something that really has made TIIMO stand out for me. So please let me know your thoughts on the app, what you use to keep going throughout the day, whether it's another product or maybe just sheer force of will. This was a sponsored video in partnership with TIIMO, but I truly believe in the product. I use it every day and it has helped me so much. You know, when I don't forget to put my watch on, which happens sometimes. They are also really interested in reaching out to the autistic and wider neurodivergent community. Given that the model of making apps free and then running ads on the apps is not really conducive to like the whole staying focused, staying on task, no distractions kind of mentality. So I kind of understand why there are no ads on it. They are a paid app, but they are experimenting with different pricing structures to try and make it more affordable for everyone. And so they're really keen for feedback on their pricing structure. And if you have any questions on that or comments on it, please do let them know in the comments. They will be reading them and replying to them hopefully within 24 hours or so, especially during the first days of this video. So please let them know what you think. This was the first in a 3-part series of practical strategies to manage your executive functioning issues. So stick around for next month's video when I'll be talking more about planning and organising your life as a neurodivergent person to whom planning and organising may not come naturally. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Action. Action. You missed your hand, people.